False teaching comes from within. Rarely does false teaching come from the outside. It does, of course, but most of the time, false teaching comes from the inside. There's somebody within the church, there's somebody within Christianity that begins to push against particular doctrines. And they push so hard that they begin to twist them. They begin to then speak heresy. One good example is the deity of Jesus Christ, the fact that Jesus is God Himself. This was a doctrine that was pushed against in the early church. It's even pushed against even today by various groups. The Mormon church, not Christian church, but the Mormon group and the Jehovah Witnesses do not believe that Jesus is God. They deny the deity of Jesus. They deny the Trinity. They say Jesus is a created being. And both of those groups have their history connected to a Christian that is then pushing against solid doctrine. So for us, we need to remember that false teaching comes within. That's why Jude is saying we need to contend for the faith that was once for all delivered to the saints. We need to understand the tradition that we have received. We need to understand the good teaching, the good doctrine that we have received as a Baptist, receiving our good Baptist tradition, Protestant tradition, and those early church fathers that are in line with a proper Protestant understanding of the faith. So false teaching comes from within. So let us now jump into our reading. We're reading Jude chapter 12 through 13. I think we're on day 5 of our 9-day reading plan through Jude. But let's look at our attitude to change. These are hidden reefs at your love feasts. There are people that when they begin pushing against, we see that they come from within. Hidden reefs at your love feast. And you know, a reef can do all kinds of damage to a boat because it's hidden and it's solid, it's underneath. When a boat runs into a reef, it will very likely suffer damage, perhaps even sink. And so this is the church getting together and celebrating. And then here are these folks that are teaching bad doctrine, doctrine that is denying essentials of the faith. And Jude is saying, watch out, they're hidden in our love feasts as they feast with you without fear. Shepherds feeding themselves, because a shepherd should actually feed others. So you see the quality of these false shepherds. They're all about themselves. They're waterless clouds. Well, clouds should have water. It's a contradiction. They're swept along by winds. They're fruitless trees in late autumn. False teachers are not going to benefit the church. Twice dead, uprooted. Verse 13, they're wild waves of the ocean, causing all kinds of trouble, casting up the foam of their own shame, wandering stars from whom the gloom of utter darkness has been reserved forever. False teaching comes from within. So we have to make sure, one, that we are not led astray, that I personally know the Bible well, and I know the teachings that we have inherited. You need to know it well so that we do not become false teachers. Secondly, we must be aware that we are training and clearly teaching people the doctrine that is taught in the Bible, doctrine that we have received from those that have come before us, the faith once for all delivered to the saints. I pray that has been a blessing to you, and I'll see you all in the next video.